Good morning, Tennessee Valley. How you doing? Hey, it's another Monday morning, and it's bright and early, and I'm not sure exactly what the temperature is, but it's not as cold as it's been, but I'm still waiting for some snow to happen in our community, so hopefully we'll get some. I understand this could be an interesting winter this year, so we are hoping for some snow. I know the teachers and students and all across the area would love to see some snow. Let's hope it happens while school's out, in December and all. But speaking of December, we're not too far away from December, not too far away from Christmas. Hope that you've got your Christmas list in mind. I hope that you've been a good boy, good girl for Santa, and it's just around the corner. We are just a little bit over a month away from Christmas. So shop till you drop, I guess, and shop local, as they say. You notice the co-host. We got Lou with us again today. Live United. He's our mascot down at the United Way office. So Lou likes to come in. He's hoping that he gets some good goodies from Santa this year as well. Hey, we've got an interesting show today. One guest. A couple of weeks ago, I believe we did the first time with one guest, and that was Jermaine Purifori. It's hard to say. And of course, he was on American Idol and did some other things. Our guest today probably doesn't have quite the singing voice that Jermaine had, but I understand quite as interesting as Jermaine is, at least. But before we get to our guest, I want to mention a few things. I always take the opportunity to talk about some things United Way related before we go into the show. And three things I want to mention. First is our local Boys and Girls Club, Boys and Girls Clubs of Cleveland. We have 7 units. There is the chance that they could get $20,000 from the Maytag Foundation, and that would be through voting for one of their volunteers. And for those of you that know Steve Hickson, a lot of folks know him as Doughball, but Steve has been a very good supporter of the Boys and Girls Club throughout the years, and he's one of the top 5 finalists to receive a recognition for that. The top finalist will win $20,000 for his Boys and Girls Club units in our case. And to do so, you just have to go to the website to vote for him. And we have that on our Facebook page, United Way's Facebook page. So go to our Facebook page. You'll see a link on how to do so. Go vote for Steve. And let's get some money for our local Boys and Girls Clubs. They do a great job. And the more money that they get like that, because they do get United Way funds, but the more money they get, the more programming they can do, and the more kids they can serve. So vote for Steve Hickson. It's about the only time you'd ever want to vote for Steve Hickson for anything, but it's a great time to do so, and he is a great Boys and Girls Club supporter. Another thing, the United Way, we work with a program called Text for Baby, and that's one word, actually a number in the middle, TEXT, the number 4, BABY, and they are an organization that helps provide information for expectant moms and moms with children up to age 1. And Rite Aid, our local Rite Aids, and Rite Aids across the country are offering free flu shots to ladies who are on that program. So if you get a chance, once again, go to our Facebook page or our webpage, which is UnitedWayBC.com, and you will find a link to the Text for Baby Rite Aid collaboration to provide free flu shots for these ladies. So if you want to find out more about that, please go there. And then coming up, of course, we've got Thanksgiving. So the day after Thanksgiving is Black Friday. And then you've got Cyber Monday. And then on Tuesday, it's something new across the country. I think this is maybe the second year, but they're calling it Giving Tuesday. And it's a chance to go online and make donations to organizations that are involved with the Giving Tuesday, actually hashtag Giving Tuesday. and that is coming up the Tuesday after Cyber Monday, after Black Friday, after Thanksgiving. And we'll try to have more information on that for the show. We'll pass it along to Nancy and Brene, and also to Joe and Kim for their shows, so they can tell you a little bit more about that, or at least remind you of that coming up. But that will be on Tuesday, December the 3rd. So keep that in mind. And hey, that's your update from United Way. We're going to take a break now, and we've got our guest coming on, and it's Dr. Carl Hite. I think he's a little familiar with Cleveland State, where we're broadcasting. But we're going to have Dr. Hite on, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's up with him. A lot of information, a lot of things going on with Dr. Hite, if you haven't heard. So we'll get the lowdown on Dr. Hite, and we'll learn a little bit about the school and all that. So we're going to take these messages, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now, Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
And welcome back to Tennessee Valley This Morning. On this Monday morning, we were talking as the commercials were running about that there are some good patrons of the show, good commercials, good sponsors, and we never really take the opportunity to say go and frequent these sponsors. Go and shop Don Ledford, Kyle, Crawford's Pharmacy, Logan Thompson. Go and support these folks because they're supporting us as well. But it's Dr. Carl Hite. Someone who has hardly ever been on this set, I guess. Is that correct?
Some days I feel like I live here.
Some days you probably feel like you live on campus, I know. But Dr. Hite is the president here at Cleveland State Community College for another month and a half?
No, December 20th.
So we're coming up on a month
Yes.
left. And Dr. Hite is retiring as president. And I asked him to come on the show because there's so many things that that I wanted to ask him that, oh, what the heck, why don't I just ask him on camera? Then he can't lie to me about anything. But he's been a great supporter of our community, supported our United Way. You've been on our board for many years as well, so I wanted to ask him to come on and talk a little bit about what's going on with him in the future and let him shine some spotlights on some things that have happened at Cleveland State while he's been here. So welcome to Cleveland State. Welcome to Tennessee Valley, and welcome to the television show. We were talking. You. This isn't the first time you've been on this show, and definitely not the first time you've been in this studio doing a show.
Yeah,
you were the host of Focus for a long time.
I'll have to applaud the folks here because they've taken a very small set.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish the audience could see what else we have here, because I think we've managed to create a number of shows and film the shows with different settings, different backgrounds, and we're hoping in the near future, I'm hoping once they hire the new president, that new president will push. We're close to revamping, upgrading all of our equipment. We're hoping to get maybe a major reintroduced again in mass communication. These kids today love the media.
Definitely.
And we need to give them that option after high school. You know, we have a number of programs now in the high school that we call our dual credit, not our dual enrollment, but our dual credit, where if they'll take certain courses in high school and then pass an exam of some kind, we'll give them college credit for it. Well, we don't have all the programs line up because there's some programs the high schools have that we don't. Well, we're looking at, can we introduce more programs here at the college that line up with what's coming out of the high schools, because I think most employers will agree with me on this. They're needing employees with better skills than what they needed 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Sure.
And because of that, they need that. And so what we're hoping to do, as I say, make it a smooth transition. And it's been great working with the local schools, both Cleveland and the Bradley schools, in terms of lining up their, particularly their career technical side. One of the things we're seeing, and it's bothered me here and it bothers most community college presidents. I know a lot of parents would prefer to, they feel like it's more prestigious to send their son or daughter to a four-year college or university. But if you kind of look at the job market right now, where the jobs are folks who've received a technical or two-year degree. Mm-hmm. In many instances, those jobs pay much better than someone who's got a bachelor's degree, perhaps in an area that there's just no demand for right now. In fact, we're seeing a lot of folks who have gotten a bachelor's degree come back to us to pick up the associate degree in a technical area so they can find a job. And all college, I think, is good, because I think what we're seeing is in this recession that we went through is that the unemployment rate for those who had less than a high school diploma or a high school diploma was much higher than those who had some college, and then the more college they had, the less likely they were to be unemployed. Now, one of the challenges we're facing, though, is I think there's a lot of college graduates that are underemployed. But hopefully, if we can get them steered into the right areas where there's a demand for certain skill areas that employers say they can't find folks. It's the STEM career, science, technology, engineering, and math. And we feel that we've made a lot of changes here at Cleveland State that addresses those employers. In fact, if I can share with you.
Well, actually, I'm going to let you share with me a little bit more in a few minutes. But you mentioned that you sort of direct folks toward the career opportunities and things. And I wanted to take the first part of our show to because we got a whole show with you, so there's plenty of time.
You may get tired of me, Alan.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. But you mentioned steering someone in the direction of Cleveland State. You have been here, what, 18 years?
17 years in December.
17 years, and I've been around for a while, but I don't remember how you got here, where you came from. I think you came from Florida,
yes.
But a little bit about how you came to Cleveland.
Well, actually, years ago in the 1970s, so this is going to date me a little bit, I was an administrator at Dalton Junior College when it was a junior college.
Sure, just down the road.
Just down the road, and years later, when the advertisement showed up, I was looking for a presidency. I was in Tampa at that time. I was a campus president, but not a college president. and I saw Cleveland State Community College was looking for a president. I said, I know where Cleveland is. That's just up the road from Dalton. So I said, well, shoot, let me put my name in the pool. And for whatever reasons, the board, the chancellor at that time, I guess, liked what they saw, offered me the job. I took it and been here ever since for 17 years. And a lot of exciting things have happened because I think higher education has changed so much in the last 17 years. I mean, the technology has totally changed everything.
Well, now, as you were growing up, was you know, I don't know of anyone who grows up and says, oh, when I get older, I want to be a college president, you know. But how did you get involved in education to begin with?
Well, you know, I think it was to some degree, and I don't want folks to feel this is the way one should do it. It was probably by accident.
Okay.
At one time, I was going to be a dentist. But if you look at these hands will not fit in the mouth of most people. So I decided that wasn't it. But I was actually going to be, I got a bachelor's degree in history. And what you can do with a bachelor's degree in history is get a master's degree in history. But then at the time I was in Florida and I got what was called a Master of Arts in Teaching. And I took a course called Introduction to Community Colleges, which I knew absolutely nothing about. And this was in the 80s and actually late 70s.
By the way, where did you go to college?
You know, this is the problem here in Tennessee I've discovered is that when I say this name, everybody gets upset. University of Florida.
Oh, whoa.
One of those gators.
We'll have to come back to that one here in a few minutes.
Yeah, well, anyway, I got kind of excited about community colleges. They were brand new. They were just starting to surface. I was fortunate to have a mentor at the University of Florida, Jim Wattenbarger. In fact, I found out an interesting little fact. One of the giants of the community college field. But anyway, they were naming a building after him at Santa Fe Community College, which is in Gainesville. And I had not been keeping up. We'd been in touch, but not very often. And so Jim asked me where I was at the time. And I said, well, I'm at Cleveland State in Cleveland, Tennessee. He says, you're kidding. That's where I was born. But he left when he was one year old.
Wow.
And really never returned. But it was just surprising because he really shaped community colleges. His dissertation, this is where, you know, you want to write a dissertation that people will look at. Well, most dissertations aren't worth looking at, unfortunately, but his was. Here was a gentleman who, for his dissertation, designed the community college, well, actually then was the junior college system in Florida. And what's amazing, I read his dissertation. At the time, schools were still segregated. And so there were white junior colleges and black junior colleges. And that was about the only part of his dissertation that basically, as integration or desegregation came, changed. But because he did such a good job, he became the first director of the junior college system in Florida and did an absolutely marvelous job. And I think when you look at systems, Florida is considered one of the better systems. And Dr. Wattenbarger put his mark because he eventually became a consultant for just about every state system of community colleges in this country that was set up in the 70s and 80s. Jim Wattenbarger had a hand in it.
Okay.
And so I felt like I was in an area and had a chance to meet a gentleman that knew what community colleges were all about. I think he saw where they were going. When you look at the total enrollment of students enrolled in community colleges, they represent about half of the college enrollment in this country. We're still small, but we've had growth every year. In fact, we were one of the few colleges this year to have growth because for some reason, we're not quite sure why. Enrollment leveled off or declined in almost all community colleges across the country, not just Tennessee. We were up, as I say, slightly, and that's a concern because we're not quite sure. We're trying to figure out from the data why we were down slightly, because usually what happens when there's a recession, and that probably helped us. This is unfortunate. When the economy goes bad, it's good for education. Unfortunately, when the economy goes bad, the state doesn't collect revenue, and therefore we get cut. At a time our enrollment's going up, we're getting cut. Now then, when enrollment starts to level off or get flat, the legislature will say, well, you don't need any more money, you've got fewer students. Well, I'll beg to differ on that, but
you're going to catch 22
Oh,
almost.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But you know, I have to say this: we've been blessed here. I've really enjoyed the relationships I've had a chance to establish with state legislators. I've been fortunate to know Governor Bredesen and Governor Haslam, and I know they've had challenges on their hands. But I really do believe Tennessee I know when I first came here, it seemed like everything I read about Tennessee, they were either 49th or 50th in a category you didn't want to be 49th or 50th,
Right.
or first in a category you didn't want to be first in.
Yeah.
Well, I think today we can look at Tennessee, and I really do believe between the University of Tennessee system, the Tennessee Board of Regents, the private colleges and universities have come so far that now Tennessee is becoming a model. We have a brand new funding formula. It's based on not on seat count or head count. It's based upon certain outcomes that have been identified for community colleges and certain outcomes for the universities. And now that's becoming a model that other states are coming to visit THEC, the coordinating commission for higher education, to see how we're doing, because they pretty much designed the formula with lots of input from the colleges. And so what we're looking at now, for example, our funding from the state, rather than looking at the 14th day of the semester and counting heads, they'll look at how many students get to 12 hours, 24 hours, 36 hours, how many graduate, how many get a certificate, how many successfully complete developmental education, how many people did you train during workforce development, what did you have in continuing ed, access in terms of still keeping the numbers coming in. And so to me, it's measuring output, not inputs. And we're getting used to it a little bit. There's a little bit of getting used to, but I really do believe it's the right way to go, because what's happened in Tennessee, governor's making it a priority. We don't have the number of college graduates we need to have in order to attract those major companies you want to attract. Now, we've been fortunate. Volkswagen came into town. Right. Wacker is here now. Tennessee seems to be doing a very good job in terms of attracting businesses related to the automobile industry. Wacker and Hemlock in Clarksville relate to solar energy. But I think they kind of got the cream of the crop when it came to a lot of people were looking for work. Thousands were looking for work, and so I think they had choices. The issue is we want to make sure that everyone in this community, in our service area, has those skills that employers are looking for, because we're still hearing from local employers that they can't find the qualified worker, but we have a solution for that, if I can take... Sure, go right ahead, please. We were fortunate enough, we discovered a program, and I'm not going to take credit for it, it was Southwest in Memphis, had a program that we became aware of, and we decided we need to be doing this, and we think we're fine-tuning it to work for Cleveland State. Is different than what works for Memphis. But anyway, what we did is we're sitting we're on the UTC campus. The governor Haslam is sitting in the room. The CEO of Volkswagen is sitting in the room. And he made a comment that got the governor upset and the rest of us sitting in the room, which were mainly higher ed folks and other manufacturers. He said 95 out of every 100 applicants for Volkswagen was unqualified. Wow. So the governor said, well, tell me about the 95%. I'm not worried about the 5%. Right. They have the jobs, but what about the 95%? Well,
why are they unqualified?
Yeah, well, they really weren't willing to share that information because they hired a company to do the assessment, and that's all private. Well, we learned that Southwest had this program where there's a company out there, and I guess, can I say their name? Because I'm probably doing a plug for them, but anyway.
Oh, I don't think they might.
Well, I'll tell you why, because it's going to change the workplace in terms of the employer making the right choice. A company called Scientific Management, they have these 4 pieces of equipment that basically can measure about 95% of the hard skills any manufacturer would have to have in their plant. And what it basically does is that you can take this piece of equipment and change something so it doesn't work. Then you ask the individual to see if they can fix it or find out what's wrong with it. And so what we did is we had a local company, Cormatech. Denise Rice was wonderful.
They're a great company.
Great company. She does a great job. But anyway, hiring has always been an issue around here. I can still remember the plant manager at Mars telling me this at the time, that they'd hire somebody and they were gone in 3 days. And you know, the cost of hiring and advertising and training, and then somebody walks on you, and you know, I read something the other day where they say flipping a coin and doing an interview gets the same results. It's no better or worse. Because you know, you can fudge an interview.
Sure.
You really need to know, what does this person really know? And so we came up with, and as I say, Southwest gave us the initial startup on this, but Rick Creasy, my Director of Workforce Development, has been fantastic.
Right.
He came from the private sector and has just been marvelous. But what we're doing, we have the capability now, and really started with, Denise was looking to hire some folks at Cormatech. So we brought in about 60 applicants applied. We assessed them on a variety of skills, and to me, this is what's important and why students or kids need to understand why school is so important. To me, an employer has to have an employee that has skills in 3 areas. And this is the one that they forget the most is the academic. They've got to be able to read, write, and do math. And unfortunately, we're seeing too many that can't.
Right.
The second is the soft skills, the ability to communicate, work in teams, solve problems, critically analyze. And then the third is a specific skill related to if it's welding or whatever it happens to be. And so to me, how can we help an employer find the right person that demonstrates skills in all 3 areas? Well, we're at a point now at the college that we're pretty good at doing the assessment in terms of any of those areas. And I'm going to brag on the math folks. We have come up with a solution on the math because most people don't like math. In fact, they hate math. It's not even a question they don't like it. They actually hate it.
Right.
And we've changed attitude. We've totally redesigned the math and had phenomenal success to the point now where we've had probably over 200 colleges and universities visit our lab to see what we're doing. But anyway, we can measure academic, we can measure the soft skills, we can measure the hard skills. What we can also do is we've created a boot camp. So if the employer is looking for certain things and they want this group of employees to have those skills, we'll do a boot camp and they can identify the skills, and it can be a week long, it can be 2 weeks, it can be 3 weeks, it can be at night, it can be during the day, you can be working, whatever the case is, we make it fit for. So we went ahead with Denise's, the 60 applicants, and she was only going to hire 6, but she ended up hiring 9 or 12 because they were so qualified. But the piece I failed to mention is that in the boot camp, we asked the employer to sit in the boot camp. And what they see is, who's the person that answers the question? Who's the team player? Who can solve problems? And so what they end up doing, they actually see the person in an environment. And one of the stories Southwest told is there was a company, the owner had them do it all, but he left the country for a while. And he came back to his plant and discovered there's something different here. The environment is different. These people get along with each other. They work together. They're team players. And to me, so we did a pitch to Cleveland Associated Industries. We've been quite involved in Athens. In fact, we're even involved in Chattanooga because they approached us. Well, we can put together a package, whatever that employer, in fact, what Merck is doing for us, what this can also do for an employer. If you've got a good employee and you want to promote, but you need to find out whether that person has the skills to move into a higher level position. We'll do an assessment for the higher level position, and this is the piece, this is the difference between the private company and Cleveland State. If we do the assessment, we have the results. Therefore, we can go to the individual and say, listen, you did fine in math, but your reading skills, you got to improve your reading skills. Great. You did fine on problem solving, but you're a little weak over here. We'll put together the package to get you, because if you've got a good employee, you don't want to lose that employee, but you also like to give them an opportunity to move up in the organization, but they're not ready to move up. This is where they come up short, and so Merck is going to have every one of their employees be assessed.
Great.
And so we'll find out, where are they? And if people do have aspirations within Merck to move somewhere in the organization, if you want to move to this position, these are the skills you're going to have. And right now what we're showing is your reading score is this, you need to get it up to this. And so we really feel in terms of this area, in terms of the manufacturers, we can address those folks because there's a lot of folks unemployed out there, but they don't have the skills that the employers are looking for. And so we hope to fix that.
I tell you what, I can see the pride in your face and in your voice about all this. And this is something that's going on right now here at Cleveland State.
Yes, absolutely.
But I want to take some time and talk with you. 17 years here at Cleveland State, you've seen some other things happen here.
Oh, absolutely.
So I want to take a break. We're going to take another break, and then we're going to come back, maybe talk a little bit about what has happened in those 17 years that you can spotlight, because we could talk all day about what's going on right now, I know.
Yes, we could.
But let's take another break, and we'll be right back after these messages with more with Dr. Carl Hite.
Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000 bucks. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
And we're back with more Tennessee Valley This Morning. I'm your host, Alan Mincy, with co-host Lou and our special guest. Yeah, how about that? Our special guest, Dr. Carl Height, and we were doing a little football, college football talking after he mentioned he was a guy from the University of Florida, and also told me that he's a graduate of Florida State. And
that won't win me a lot of friends around here.
Well, it could, because if they play Alabama in the national championship, if there's one team that Tennessee fans don't want to win, it's Alabama. Even though they're in the same, they don't care who beats them.
That's right.
So we will see. But that I did not realize. But you've been here 17 years, and the college you mentioned before, it's grown. I was here back in the mid '70s, so I know a lot of the folks that were here prior to you coming. But some of them stayed around for a while. Jim Sigliano
Some of them were still at the college. They're few and far between, but there's some folks that came in the first or second year the college was open.
Well, I think, is Dr. Rowley still?
No, he's actually passed on.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah,
I did not realize that.
That was sudden, but yeah, he's gone. A lot of them are gone, and that's what's scary.
Well, it is. Well, you know, we don't have this gray hair just from a bottle.
I'm happy
you know.
to have hair. Okay,
yes,
that's
exactly.
right.
Well,
I don't care what.
I'm not going there because I'm losing mine. But I always say that to people when they say, "Who's your favorite teacher that you had in school?" I always say I had my two favorite teachers were at Cleveland State Community College. I had Roy Lillard for history.
I met Roy before. Yes.
And nobody knew history like he did. And I had Catherine Truitt for English.
I knew her too.
And two of the nicest people, but the most knowledgeable people. And they were right here at Cleveland State at a community college. And sometimes community colleges get that, it's a 2-year school.
Right.
You just go there get those early classes in, and then you move on. But you couldn't beat either one of those teachers. So
You know, that's been the challenge, because I think community colleges in general, and I've had the chance to work in 5 different states, 5 different systems. People who choose to work in a community college, there's no pressure to do research, there's no pressure to publish, and yet we've had faculty who have published, faculty who have done research, but the real emphasis, actually when I got here, I mean, these are folks who like to teach. But what's changed, and this is probably in the 17 years, I'd like to think we've gone from a teaching institution to a learning institution. Okay. And that what students need to realize, or anyone out there, no matter what job they're in or what level of education they have, it's not over. I have, you know, this is kind of a running joke because I've heard it so many times. I have a PhD, which is referred to as a terminal degree. Okay. Now that basically implies that once you have that terminal degree, you know it all because it's called a terminal degree. You don't need anything afterwards. It's also very frightening because terminal means kind of...
Yeah, right.
But anyway, we won't go there. But to me, what's changed is that learning now is lifelong. It has to be. If you're working particularly in a plant, in a manufacturing community like this community, the technology is changing so fast, both the software and the hardware, is that you constantly have to be upgrading, learning, professional development if you're going to stay current in your field. Right. And so you better be a good learner. And so the shift that we've tried to make at Cleveland, this applies to everyone at Cleveland, whether it's the faculty, the staff, or the students, we all have to become better learners and constant learners. And so, and then along on top of that, you have, you know, the term has been disruptive technology. I mean, when I first came to Cleveland State, in fact, we did this we hosted the Tennessee Board of Regents this year, and someone found a video clip.
Uh-oh.
Yes, yes, it was an but it was in the 1970s, and it showed that Cleveland State was ahead of the curve on technology. Well, they showed these huge mainframes and these old computers that were just starting to come out, and Tennessee was on the cutting edge. And I look back now, and when I got here, some of the computers that were still being used, they were antiques. But we've been fortunate, you know, unfortunately we passed it on to the student, but we have a technology access fee that has allowed us to buy the most current technology, and then the college itself, through grants. One thing we have done, probably, I think, an excellent job. I've got an excellent grants person, Michelle Anderson, but I've also got faculty and staff, because they're the ones that kind of have to write the grant, and then Michelle makes sure they crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. Sure. But we've been able to secure a lot of equipment through grants that we could not have done some of the things. And this, for example, this math redesign. It's high tech, high touch. Let the computer do what it does best. Let the faculty member do what he or she does best. And what's happened, you know, I don't know how anybody can be a math teacher or an English teacher in the old days. If you were an English teacher, you graded papers. Whenever, you know, when you weren't in class, you were grading papers. Right. Well, in math, you were grading papers. And now we're trying to get the English and the reading. We're working on a redesign, but we're not there yet. But we're getting there because we've got some folks who are really vested in making it happen. But in the math, the computer does all the grading. So the faculty member no longer takes home just reams of paper to grade. In fact, the grading is done in the lab instantly, so the student knows right then and there. They either got it right or they got it wrong. It's that simple. And so the faculty, they work the lab. In fact, we have, this is probably a marriage of the old and the new. We took these Dixie cups, red and blue. No, let's see, yeah, red and blue. Okay. We put these little slits in it so it'll sit on your screen, just sits on your screen. If you have a red cup, you put it on your screen, it means you need help. So the people that are working in the room will see the red cup, they'll walk over and help you. The blue cup is you're in the middle of exams, so we want to make sure you're not cheating and you're taking a test and so on. And it's worked remarkably well. The faculty love it. What it's done too is, and particularly in our Athens site, we would cancel so many classes off campus because we'd have 5 students and we can't afford to run a class with 5. Yeah. Well, with the technology now, and I'll do a plug for Pearson because it's been my Math Lab Plus product that we're using. What happens is you can have 15 kids sitting in a classroom with 3 different classes going on at the same time. because they're all working on different things.
Okay.
And you just, and so and then what happens too is, faculty would spend a lot of time preparing a lecture, and they like to change their lectures every year, so they put a lot of time and effort into it. Well, what we went to was that we identified a full-time math teacher in each course that had total responsibility for the course. They developed a video. Once the video was made, the student could online access that video, so if they can take it home and watch it over and over and over if they need to. But they're short, they're only about 20 minutes. The class meets 1 day a week instead of 3, so in terms of impact on physical plant, all of a sudden I had more classroom space than I needed, because this class the only space I had to add was lab space. And our math lab has grown considerably because of the fact that we've had so many students successful in math. In fact, this is a funny story I tell about the redesign. There's an organization out there called NCAT, National Center for Academic Transformation, and we got this model called the Emporium Model idea from them. But one of the things they said, the purpose of the redesign was to save money. So I'm going through the math budget and I'm saying, we've increased our expenses in the math area. I said, wait a minute, this was supposed to save us money. So I went to the department chair, Karen Wyrick. She said, well, Carl, did you notice that we doubled the enrollment in college level math? That's why we're spending more money, but that we reduced the cost per student from something like $50 to $20? Then on top of that, we saved the student. The textbook these days, if you haven't bought a textbook, you don't want to buy a textbook.
No, oh no.
We have students spending as much on textbooks as they do on tuition.
Yeah.
Anyway, average cost of a math textbook was $150. Okay. So we cut a deal with Pearson that they would reduce it to $75, and what you would do is you basically bought an electronic textbook, access to all the Pearson products and all the Pearson software and everything else. So to me, you were getting a better deal for $75. Well, what they then said is, if you can increase the volume. So we were fortunate, basically Cleveland State and then Chattanooga State, because they stole my math department chair. But anyway, it was good for John to go, because what happened, it proved that this type of math lab works in a small rural environment or a large urban environment. Okay. Anyway, we've been very successful to the point that we cut a deal with Pearson to say, what if we do a system approach to using Pearson my math lab? And now the price is $50.
Okay. Wow.
So to me, we have reduced the cost for the student. We've reduced the cost for the college. On top of that, we use full-timers and part-timers. I mean, full-timers do this for a living. They have more time to spend, and we've got some excellent part-timers, but for some part-timers, they're rushing from work, they get there in time to do their presentation, they go home. Well, we made a decision that we've eliminated all the part-timers in math, because a faculty member can carry more students now because of the fact, a full-timer, because of the fact that the technology does so much of the administrative tasks that they had to do. And then we've had some remarkable success stories. What we discovered, students got so excited about the math that we had to extend the hours of the math lab. For example, on a Friday afternoon, I hate to say this, on a Friday afternoon it's pretty empty on a community college campus. Our math lab, we were closing it at 1 o'clock. Now it stays open until 4:30 because people want to use the lab. We opened it up on Saturday. We then opened it up between semesters because there were students who wanted to get a head start. Then we have, and this is the program that probably I think will change what we're doing in Tennessee. I'm not aware of any other state doing this. We hear over and over how expensive, how much the state spends on developmental education, on teaching students things they should have learned already. And we're doing it over again in a very expensive way to do it. Well, there's some changes taking place with this whole Common Core standard being adopted in K through 12. But there's also changes taking place at higher education, where there is, and Tennessee's a member of a consortium that is developing a new assessment device. Well, I'm reading all these articles about all this money colleges are going to have to spend on developmental, because the fact is they're going to raise the cutoff scores on these assessments, and so there are going to be more kids testing into developmental than ever before. Well, we have a program, and between Chattanooga State and Cleveland State, we're the leaders of the pack, I'll say that. It's called SAILS, and I can never remember what it stands for, but anyway. We have it in all 11 high schools. We have 11 high schools in our service area, so all 11 high schools are participating. John in the Chattanooga area has got most of his high schools, and there's other colleges and high schools around the state that are doing the same thing. What we're doing now is that at the end of the junior year, if the student has tested below the college level cutoff score in math, they create what's called a bridge course. Well, the bridge course almost mirrors our developmental ed math course. So what we're doing is we have trained, either we are doing it or we have trained the high school teacher to do the redesign in the high school, so they take this bridge course in high school such that when they leave high school they will be college ready. What we also hope to do is that someday we'll be able to do it with the reading and writing, so that when that student takes that exam and they test below college level, we'll fix it before they leave high school. Now what's great about it is that there's really no cost to that program because the student's still in high school. The teacher, and we like to hire the high school teachers, are still there.
Right.
And so, you know, there's no additional expense. We're pretty much, we got a grant that helped, but once this is all set up and running, it should sustain itself. But I can see the day in Tennessee where every county, every high school, where when that student comes up short, but I think with a Common Core standard, we'll see fewer students coming up short. But on the opposite side of that is if we raise the cutoff score, so this is going to take a while to play out, probably years to play out. But I think the employers should be happy because they're going to get a better product coming out of the school system. I think schools today have a lot of challenges. And I know when I went to school, didn't have that they're dealing with. Teachers have to deal with today that teachers when I went to school didn't have to deal with. But I think we're going to see Tennessee being a leader, and I know they were very pleased. I know the governor was very pleased when they announced the other day that the students in Tennessee had the largest increase on this national standardized test, even though we're still ranked 31st or 32nd or whatever. Right. It was a huge increase. So I think
we were in the high 40s.
Oh yes, yes, yes. The state is moving in the right direction, but I think the piece that has to be fixed is we've got to, I mean, the day will come to me, and I don't think the developmental math folks want to hear this, is that the perfect day would be when there's no longer a need at a college to have developmental anything. And yet we're not there. Florida, I remember I was in the Florida system, and they said, we're going to eliminate developmental math in 5 years. Well, this was in the 1970s.
Still there.
Still there.
Still there. Still there.
Strong as ever.
Well, but you're working at it. We're working at it.
This to me, I mean, as I say, this is, I think, revolutionary in terms of Tennessee being the leader in education. And I think the teachers are starting to realize, the teachers are still the most critical piece, whether it's K through 12, whether it's higher education. But what they do and how they do it has changed. And I applaud the faculty at Cleveland State have bought into redesigning the curriculum, because what this NCAT National Center has done, it's not just math, reading, or English. They've got examples of redesigns done at colleges and universities all across the country in just about every discipline you can think of. And so we're really starting to make that shift, because these kids coming, particularly the ones coming out of high school, they're growing up on this technology. And they're using it. So we're having to figure out, how do we take the technology, these iPads, these iPhones, and there are so many applications now that can be used in the classroom. And so I think the faculty member, in fact, I sent out an email to the faculty today. Someone had done, what's the faculty going to look like in the year 2023? Definitely nothing like you and I experienced.
Exactly.
People don't learn by lecture. 25% of learners are audio, and yet for 400 years, the lecture was the mode of instruction at high schools, I mean K through 12, you name it. Now the lecture is starting to disappear, being replaced by the technology and the faculty doing things differently.
As Dylan said, these times, they are a-changing.
Absolutely.
And they're changing for Carl Hite, too.
Yes.
Because December 20th, you say, you're retired. I want to take another break and come back and find out what Carl Hite's going to be doing in the next, up to 2023. How's that?
Okay, fair enough.
So we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more of Dr. Carl Hite right after these messages.
Town Americana, where trucks are big and bold, and a handshake is firm, and your word is gold. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens is a $2,000 drive. Maybe you're coming from Here or here, doesn't matter. Buying a truck from Don Ledford in Athens will save you at least $2,000. Don Ledford Chevy Buick GMC in Athens, a $2,000 drive worth making.
I'll take that drive every time.
At Crawford Pharmacy, we offer custom compounding. Our pharmacists are known for their attention to detail and unique expertise. So visit us at 2260 Chambliss Avenue, Cleveland, Tennessee. For personal assistance, walk right in or come up to our convenient drive-thru. Crawford Pharmacy, serving our community one person at a time.
Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast in Cleveland, is the place to find quality pre-owned cars and trucks. Kyle offers on-the-spot financing on all vehicles on the lot. Each pre-owned vehicle goes through a complete inspection to make sure each car and truck meets the Kyle Motors standard. Warranty and extended warranties available on all vehicles. Kyle Motors will sell you a car or truck that you will be proud to drive for many years to come. See Tony, Bill, Dale, James, or David and let them put you in your next quality pre-owned vehicle. Kyle Motors, 802 20th Street Southeast. Phone 790-7100.
Are you having trouble filing for disability?
Seems no one is concerned about your pain, the waiting, the denials.
While some representatives will meet with you in court, we will meet with you now to discuss your plan. We'll review with you the same file that the judges will see. Call us now. Social Security Law Center at Logan Thompson.
You're entitled to better.
This segment of Tennessee Valley This Morning is brought to you by Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, located at 511 South Lee Highway in Cleveland and 2120 Chapman Road, Chattanooga. For your next new or previously owned vehicle, make it Crown Chrysler Dodge Jeep and Ram, the better way to buy.
Back to Tennessee Valley this morning. We were doing the Florida. No, we weren't. We
That's
weren't
Florida
doing,
State. We know
we weren't doing that. Yeah, we weren't, and we definitely weren't doing that.
Yeah.
But we've talked about the college, and there's you can't help but notice the pride that you have in Cleveland State. Putting 17 years of your life here, you can't help but be proud of the school, the staff. And all the things that have happened, and we haven't even mentioned your work with the Rotary Club. And did you say you were a Kiwanis member or just a Rotarian?
I was a Kiwanian when I was out in Washington.
Okay, we won't get them battling each other, but two good organizations.
Very good organizations.
But and we definitely won't talk about the Womanless Beauty pageant where you came in with a basketball. I remember that. But we've got some pictures, so
I'm trying to get those pictures back. I'm willing to pay.
Okay, we will talk with you about that. But after 17 years, you're retiring. You and I talked off camera. You're going to be doing a little part-time work here and there. But it's time for Carl Height and Claire, your wife,
yes, absolutely,
to maybe do a few things that you've missed in these 17 years. So. You mentioned traveling. You going to do some traveling?
Well, we hope to, because what I discovered with this job, it's 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard. And then Claire has a career of her own. She's got a PhD, and actually an MBA and a PhD.
That's a terminal degree.
That's a terminal degree, but she never stopped learning either.
Okay.
And, I've moved every book she ever owned, and she's got a lot of them.
A lot of books. What's her degree in, by the way?
Well, she's got the MBA, and that's a business degree, but her undergraduate degree was in English, and then her doctorate degree is in, reading.
Okay.
But she's an expert in reading. Worked for years at the University of South Florida, and then worked at Dalton State when it was Dalton State, or it is Dalton State.
Is that where you guys met, or?
No, we actually met at a fraternity party at Florida State.
Oh.
She was dating a fraternity brother of mine.
Oh.
Got introduced to her, and we started seeing each other, and we've been together pretty much ever since.
Stole her from one of your fraternity
well,
brothers.
yeah, maybe, but
we're learning things about Dr. Carl Hite we didn't know about.
She was worth stealing.
Oh, she is a very nice lady.
She's had to put up a lot because I've moved a lot. And her career has followed, but she's marvelous at what she does. And so we really didn't travel as much as we like. We have 2 sons, and they kept us very occupied in terms of what they're doing and what they did as they were growing up. And so we feel now that they've got their own careers. And so we're going to do some of that traveling that we had postponed.
Anywhere you want to go? Special?
Well, we have some, she's Irish, so we definitely want to do Ireland.
Go to Ireland, sure.
Oh, absolutely, but she's got an interest in Italy. And I was born in Honolulu, and
wow, I did not know that.
Oh yeah,
okay.
My father served in the South Pacific during World War II, and came home. And a few months after he came home, I'm a twin.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
And so the 2 of us came into the world, and but we just didn't have that opportunity to travel that much. And, and now, as I say, Italy, and we're looking at to go back to Hawaii.
Okay.
And I kind of like the Caribbean area at some point in time, and so we're thinking that we're in a position.
You need a chaperone? Because I'm available. I'm sure I could get Joe or Kim to go with you. We'll figure something. We can get some video or whatever.
We're not quite that well off.
Okay. What about Cleveland? You plan on staying here, or is
what I'm hoping
that a tough question to ask?
No, actually, I'm going to be going back and forth because I'm looking to do some things, but most of the work I'm looking to do, I can do online. But there's some things I want to do in Florida, but there's also things that will bring me back to Tennessee. In fact, what we're looking at is finding a place perhaps in Gatlinburg so that in the summertime when it's so ungodly hot in Florida, we can be up at an altitude where it's cool, and then when it gets real cold in the wintertime, we'll head back to Florida. But
there you go.
We will definitely be spending time in Cleveland because, like you say, I put 17 years of my life here in this community, some wonderful friends and relationships. And I'll always have an interest in this college.
Sure.
And so I'm going to be anxious. And I'm also going to give, I don't know who the new president will be. We're hoping to know by Thanksgiving. But I've met 2 of the 3 candidates.
Right.
And I think it's a good pool. And no matter who the chancellor, well, actually it's the board that makes the choice, but it'll be the chancellor's recommendation. Whoever they choose, that if I can answer any questions, because what he won't have is history.
Right.
But my executive assistant, Linda, is marvelous. And I was fortunate to walk in when Linda Henry was the executive assistant, and she could give me the history, because so much of what you have to know is what was the history before you make a decision about doing this. What's the history? Because you don't want to step into something that if you'd known the history you wouldn't have stepped into. And so that was very helpful to me, and I think the new president needs that someone. And so to me,
I'm glad that you're gonna be around somewhat.
Oh yeah, there's too many folks that I've gotten to know that I want to see and continue to see.
Hey, we are coming up at the end of our show. You said a whole hour. I'm going to be with you a whole hour, and it didn't hurt at all, did it?
Oh no. Well, anytime I can talk about Cleveland State.
Well, who knows? Somebody may get you on their show a little bit later too. But you'll be leaving on the 20th, Cleveland State. I'm sure they've got some special events planned for you.
Yeah, they do, and I like to leave quietly, but I guess
sorry, you're not going to be able to do that.
No, I won't.
And this is as quiet as it's going to be. But thank you for coming on the show this morning.
Well, thank you.
And we will we'll stay in touch, of course.
Oh, absolutely. But I want to see what this studio is going to look like in a year or two, because I know there are plans to totally remodel this area.
Exactly.
And see what's happening.
But Dr. Hite, I'm going to call you Carl.
Call me Carl.
Carl. Thank you for coming on, and good luck with the future. And folks, we will see you in a couple of Mondays. We're going to have another college president come on sometime soon. Dr. Kahn's coming on too, so that could be interesting.
And I hope you'll make time for the new president to come on.
We will, definitely. Folks, we'll see you later, okay? Bye-bye.